just to be me, 'cause what I feel is free. And I don't always wanna watch what I'm eating, 'cause chocolate gets the best of me. And if I ride my bike, it's to get from A to B. Yeah.
Hi.
Hi, Macy.
Hi, Heidi. Thank you so much for connecting today. I'm really excited to hear more about your experience in finding love and to share with people who have experienced a lot of the things that you probably experienced before doing the Love Advantage stuff and finding your person, you know, the challenges and what you discovered and all of that, so that, you know, people can really develop some sense of hope. Because I know a lot of the people who are watching this are probably thinking, oh my God, there's just no way that I could do a program or fix what's going on with me. Like, I'm an exception.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, you really had some big things that were challenging. So I'm just really excited to share that with people.
Yeah, me too. Thank you.
Okay, awesome. So let's just dive in and talk about where you were before you even did the program. Like, what your life was like as a single person when you knew in your heart that you really wanted a relationship.
You know, I think I had kind of hit a wall with relationships because in the past, I was coming from a place of really not fully knowing myself. So not really being able to know what the right partner would be for me. And I really also had a lot of work to do on loving myself. And I knew that going through like a dating website or a dating service wasn't the answer for me, that I needed something more like the Love Advantage program, because I needed to do the work on me in order to invite in the kind of person I was really wanting to invite into my life. So looking back at previous relationships, just really seeing how my tendency was to really give up a big part of who I was in order to be in a relationship. And also not even really knowing who I was or what I was looking for. And also recognizing, and it's interesting because in this experience, I dated somebody who very much did not love himself. And I think he was there to be a mirror for me and a teacher for me, to show me how hard it is to love somebody that doesn't love themselves.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty much impossible. There's nobody that can love you enough to make up for the fact that you don't love yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I heard about your program, I knew that this was the way I wanted to go. I know so many people that I go on dates with. It's like I'd be set up on a blind date through a dating service, and it seemed to me like their very first step post-divorce or whatever was to sign up for a dating service instead of doing the work that they needed to do on themselves, which I think just slows down the whole process, because how are you going to invite in that perfect partner if you haven't done the work that you need to do to really be happy in your own life? And so anyway, so the work we did together I thought was really essential, and it for sure for me led me to something really amazing, better than I ever really imagined it could be.
Yes, I love that. I'm just loving that, you know, you really were able to make that decision and know that there is a different way and choose that. I'm curious about, like, at the beginning, like before you did anything, what it looked like for you in your life to live not loving yourself. Because I think people are kind of maybe living and not realizing that that's what's happening. So can you give some examples of what your life was like and how you thought and behaved that eventually you recognize, wow, I wasn't loving myself? What were those things you were doing?
I was very hard on myself and very negative self-talk. I very much believed that I had to look a certain way in order to attract in a partner, and I became so focused on just physically how I looked that it's like if I gained a pound, I felt like I wasn't worthy of love. I really focused a lot on my physical body, and in focusing so much on the physical, like the type of people that I was attracting in any way was very empty and devoid of anything of any depth. Because I lacked anything really of any depth because I was just so focused on my exterior. And I went through some big losses, as you know, and I think that going through all of that, it just kind of, for me, it amplified the message that I wasn't worthy of love. And, I went through a period of time where it became very evident over a period of time that I was repelling people because it was like my head was down. I was not smiling. I wasn't happy. I might have been able to fake a smile, but I look at pictures of like just the sadness and how you could just see like I just wasn't really happy. And I can't expect somebody to come in my life to make me happy. I have to first be happy in my own life, and then you invite that in. That's the magnetism. So when you're in this very negative space of whether it's just not loving yourself or just the sadness or you're going through a difficult time, it's kind of magnetic. You kind of attract and invite more of that in. And I remember waking up one day and just thinking, you know what, maybe I need to fake it till I make it. So I just keep inviting in more of what I don't want. So maybe I need to put out a different vibe, a different, front. And even if it's not genuine at first, fake it till you make it. Smile from the outside in, and then eventually, hopefully, that turns around. And the work that you and I did together really helped to move me in the direction of where I really became very happy in my own life, to the point where I didn't know if I would ever find love again. I thought maybe that part of my life might have already occurred and that I was on a different path and destined for something different. And in acceptance of that, always knowing I really wanted to find a loving partner, but being happy and content in my own life as it was, and being okay in the not knowing if that was going to be a part of my life again, but just really being happy. And when you put out that vibe of like positivity and genuine happiness, I think that's much more attractive to people. So people that just get on a dating website because they don't want to be single anymore, and they expect that person to come in and complete their life and like make the happiness. That's not, what I've learned in my experience is that you kind of have to get there first, and then you start to attract in what you really want to have in your life. It's the magnetic field that we work on through the yoga. Really strengthening that magnetic field so that you're attracting in what serves you and repelling what doesn't. So
yeah, that's awesome. So I love that you really acknowledge that like message that you were giving yourself, that you weren't worthy, that you had to be a certain way, and if you weren't that way, then you couldn't have it, and like sort of that perfectionist thing. And then bringing more focus, sounds like through the program you were able to recognize that there is a different way of, what I like to say is how you love your life is your love life, because when we are doing those things that are not only nurturing ourselves and true to ourselves, then we are like starting to have more fun, and that is, I mean, it's more satisfying for ourselves, but then like you said, it is more magnetic. It's more attractive to see someone who really does that. Do you remember like what kinds of things you added into your life that made you like your life more, like made life more pleasurable, so that you were just enjoying the journey?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I have this card that a friend gave me for a birthday a few years back, and I use it as my Facebook profile picture, but it says, I choose to live a life I love. And so in the past, I had a big corporate career, and I used to go to the gym like 2 hours in the morning and 2 hours at night. And, I think I got to the point where it's like, I just wanted to do what I love. So with work, completely living the office job, the corporate America world behind, completely choosing a lifestyle in a mountain town that I love, working with dogs, teaching yoga, helping people, and doing things I love, activities that I love. So with fitness, really, if it's not something that I enjoy, then I'm not going to spend my time doing it. So not forcing myself into the gym and, lifting weights, but rather, finding activities that are really enjoyable to me, whether it be hiking or running or biking or skiing or whatever it is. Just really choosing a life I love, with friends that I love, with activities that I love, work that I love, and also really finding in that like the universe provides. I used to make a really big salary in my big corporate job, and I don't make that anymore, but I'm totally being provided for. And I think that when you start to go in the direction that you're meant to go, it's amazing how the universe just shows up with things, and somehow it just works out,
Yeah. Oh my gosh. That is such a good point, because I definitely observed that of you. I mean, and I had a similar thing because I was in a really high paying corporate job forever, and, but miserable. And so as we heal those wounds of, wordiness, then we can start seeing like, okay, well, what is it that's really there? Like, what do I really love? Like, what can I do to be on purpose? Which you've done so many different things with your yoga and just all the health stuff you do. And then to actually live in that way that aligns with your body, I'm sure really helps other people. But I mean, I tell this to people all the time, that this path to love is not just about finding your special person. The ripple effect is, your health, your career, your purpose, your everything, because the foundation of all that is love. So, I mean, you definitely noticed that. And I sense that there was like a moment that maybe you had to like trust more. And once you could trust and just lean into what felt good, you got evidence that it was working.
Yeah, absolutely. And I did go through a period of literally everything being stripped away. And I remember talking about like having a salt shaker, and it's like taking the top off and dumping everything out, and then trying to slowly put grain by grain the salt back in, but you're picking different salt grains. It's like my whole world. I got laid off. Somebody that I was very involved with in the gym where I would work out every day, that was a huge part of my life. That relationship ended. My dad died very suddenly, and he was my only parent. And then my daughter moved away to New York for college, and I was turning 42. I was turning 42 that year. And it just forced me to really look at my life and start with a clean slate and decide, how am I going to build the next phase of my life? So I had to have everything stripped away in order for me to start moving in a direction of where I was going to live my life for me for probably the first time ever. Really deciding, like, what kind of work do I want to do? What kind of lifestyle do I want to have? What kind of relationships do I want to invite in? What kind of friendships? Where do I want to live? How do I want to make a living? All of that. And there was a point when I felt like maybe pressures from outside made me feel like I needed to return to like a real, quote unquote, real job. And I was interviewing for all of these jobs and I wasn't getting any offers, and it was a really stressful time. And I finally got to the point where I realized I needed to just surrender and just see where I was meant to go. And doors started to open and there was a path that cleared and I knew which way I was going. And, you know, but I had to open to that. It's like, you can't force your path. You have to be willing sometimes to sit back and see how things unfold and just be okay and not knowing and trusting. And that's absolutely what I did. And which is what led me, so it's what led me back to where I am now. And that's ultimately where I found my partner.
Yeah, awesome. I can't wait to talk about that. I still have a few questions though. And I'm just curious, like, you know, what were the biggest blocks and how do you feel like the Love Advantage program helped you get through them? I mean, if you can speak to them in terms of, you know, what you know that, you know, people out there are probably feeling right now, like as a single person and maybe, you know, like both of us over 40 at that time, like, because it's, or even late 30s, who knows where they are. It probably doesn't really matter. But I mean, at a certain time, we feel like we can lose hope that it could ever happen. So just like, what do you think those like main blocks were if you just spell them out in points?
I would say not staying true to myself.
Mm-hmm.
Not loving myself.
Yeah.
Not feeling worthy.
Mm-hmm.
And then self-sabotage.
Mm-hmm.
Very low confidence, low self-esteem. And my beliefs about, I really believe that sometimes your thoughts create your reality, and your beliefs, you have to be really careful of your thoughts and your words. And I had a pretty negative outlook about my future of dating and relationships. And there was a point when I believed that living where I lived, I'd never find anybody. I remember talking to you about that. And I really believe, you know, that you can be careful because you can make that come true. I mean, so, and just not putting my energy into the right things, you know, and not taking the time that I needed, like, to, because initially after all of that loss occurred, I think shortly after my dad died, I joined a dating website, and I kind of look back on it now and think like how much pressure I was putting on people about, like, I was so seeking happiness from outside. And it's just really clear to me now that it probably wasn't that fun to hang out with me because it's not up to them to make me happy. And that's kind of the route I was going. And I gave up the dating websites and I joined your program instead. And so, you know, you can't be seeking happiness from the outside. There's nobody there that's going to fix it for you. You have to do the work first. You have to. It's not optional.
I know. I love that. That's a huge
Or
one.
to
I
have
mean,
like a true, like a worthwhile relationship, the one that
mhm.
you really want. I mean,
Yeah.
sure, you could date, you could even date long term, but I was repeating the same patterns of relationships.
Hmm.
And I truly believe that until you heal what you need to heal, it's basically that same person showing up in a different wrapper. And do you want to keep repeating that? I mean, so it's not optional if you're really looking for that long-term partner that really is the right fit for you. You have to do the work. Otherwise, it's just going to be more of the same. The same patterns will repeat because there's some lesson in it. You have to learn it. Until you learn the lesson, you're going to keep having the opportunity to learn it by it appearing in different forms.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I mean, I can totally relate to that one so much. And that is my intention in the program, is that we get the opportunity to learn those lessons and learn and move on and forgive ourselves so that we can receive something different. I mean, it's really, how can we move forward? How can we move forward? And the other one that I love that you mentioned that is really, I hear it a lot, is the one about the location. Like, how many people feel like, well, there's no one here. I can't find someone here. This place is not going to work. And it really is our frequency. I mean, you're right. Like our thoughts and how that became a reality, because obviously we know the end of the story, which we're getting to soon. But so then when you look at the program, like what pieces do you feel like you were able to kind of transcend because of doing the program?
Well, a key piece was the work we did on getting really clear on the type of partner I wanted to invite in,
Mm-hmm.
which essentially, before I could even get to that point, I really needed to get clear on who I was and what brings joy to my life. Because once I know myself really, really well, it's much easier to get clear on what kind of person would be suited to me. And really healing a lot of the stuff, that we all pick up along the way.
Mm-hmm.
So really the work that we did together and the work that I did outside of the program, on healing, a lot of the past hurts, a lot of the stuff I picked up along the way that really wasn't serving me, like shedding that, and really loving myself and my life and changing my vibration so that it just became very clear, like how I saw it from both sides, how what I was inviting in when I was not in a very good space, and how that shifted so much when I shifted to a more positive light being. So in every aspect of my life. So
Yeah, you did a good job. I think the other thing I really want to acknowledge about you is that you do take responsibility. You took personal responsibility and you were willing to do the work. I mean, it does take practices to then rewire our brains. I mean, what you came in with wasn't something that happened just like months before we started the program. This is like stuff that happened a long time ago, and that's why you were having these kinds of relationships. So the healing is, for your whole life. And certainly in using the Kundalini yoga practices that, you continue to do, and I invite people to do in the program, we have the opportunity to heal generations and to really rewire ourselves to have a different frequency, which is what I noticed when I did these practices to find Larry. When I was doing them, I was just opening up to my person. I could really feel it, and I really felt that shift because all of a sudden I started seeing a different caliber of person.
mm-hmm.
and your life does look different. Like things start changing, and it's just so amazing. But I guess the main point I wanted to make is acknowledging that you got to do the work. I mean, and it doesn't have to be work, but the personal development is what is going to shift things, and getting into our bodies, because those blocks are in our body. Like, I know I've seen other programs that sound really interesting, but if it's like lecture, 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 we're not going to get out of our heads.
Right.
And in my life, I know that if I'm not getting into the body, I mean, our subconscious mind lives in our body. So it's really cool to see how that was a result for you in having those changes too.
Yeah.
Because we can, there's only so far we can talk our way out of stuff, and only so far that we can fake it until we make it if our subconscious mind body is driving a different story.
Right.
So anyway, major celebration. So tell me what has happened since.
So, I went through a period of time where I really was just completely focused on working on myself. And I kind of came out the other side of it and became very happy in my life, really enjoying my life. And I, over the summer, decided to start a meetup group for biking. I do a lot of road biking here in Steamboat. And originally when I started this group, it was for a small group of friends that we had been going on regular rides. But every time we would want to plan a ride, there would be several emails going back and forth. And I thought an easier way to communicate rides would be to start this meetup group. And when I opened it up, I decided to make it open and not private, because I figured if there's people that are interested in the group and would be interested in meeting for bike rides, then why not? I'm always looking for somebody to ride with. And so this guy joined, and we started to ride bikes together. And pretty much we would meet for a ride and go our separate ways. And then I decided to shut down the meetup group because the people that I originally started it for weren't really using it. They would still email when they wanted to plan a ride. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't something I really wanted to manage anymore. But he and I exchanged information, and we decided to continue going for rides together. And then one day we decided to go out afterwards. And then just slowly over time, we started to do things after the ride. And it just one day became really clear that like everything I had written down in my Big Happy Love journal, he was standing right in front of me.
Wow.
And it was just, I literally felt like I manifested him. I was amazed. I couldn't believe it. I went back to what I wrote down, and I'm like, that's him. He like came, and he's all of that and more. And it is such a big difference what you invite in. And it's a totally different experience of love that I've ever had, because I'm in a totally different place. Mm-hmm. It's like, why is it working so well? It's because I'm working well. Like, I know who I am. I love myself. I love my life. I'm very clear on what kind of person would be a good match for me. And I'm very much able to be myself, fully myself. And it's just, it's this amazing, it's an amazing experience. I've never had the experience of being in a relationship that's this rich, because I took the time to do all of that work, and I fully know myself, and I fully love my life, and now I fully love my partner. I mean, it's just, it goes hand in hand, I believe.
Yeah. Oh my God. It's so amazing. And what I totally notice about you sharing this is the ease. Like, there's like no doubt. There's no questioning there. It's just so truly connected. And I think that's what I'm always want to communicate to women is that there is this relationship that you can have that just feels really comfy and safe and exciting and giddy and all of those things.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was texting you a little bit in the beginning because there was that old voice that was like freaking out a little, you know, it's like feeling vulnerable. And I think you experienced this with Larry in the beginning. It's just like, this isn't what I've had in the past. So that's not, you don't need to worry about it. This isn't anything like what you've ever had. So just relax. And the other thing is if, I think you said something about this when we were going back and forth, but if it's the one, then nothing you're going to do is going to blow it up, you know?
Yeah.
Nothing you're going to do or say so you can fully be your authentic self, and it's all going to be good.
Mm-hmm.
It has been. And I got over that pretty quickly. Because in the past, I would get in this like worry energy and have this anxiety about it. And it was like waiting for the bubble to burst, and fear, obviously, and anxiety. And it would almost turn into self-sabotage, sabotaging the relationship, you know?
Yeah.
And thankfully, it kind of came and went really quickly because it became very clear that this was completely different than anything I've ever had.
Yeah.
So now I've completely relaxed into it and am just very content in a very good way.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's a different love than anything I've ever experienced in my whole life.
It's so awesome, and you so deserve it. And I think that, you know, that is one thing that I like to kind of highlight about love coaching is that even beyond the healing time, there is that time when you develop the relationship that kind of support is important. Like important to be able to say, you know, wait a minute, stop. That's an old voice. Like, here's what's true. You can't screw this up. And like really getting back into your heart, remembering your vision, and also like being able to come from the place where you were coming from, where it was, is this person a good fit for me? Looking at your vision and saying, this person matches everything that I value. And going from there rather than like, I'm sure you can relate to this because I feel like we've talked about this before, but for me, like a time in my life where I honestly had so little self-esteem and value around what I deserved in a relationship that I was just waiting for people to like me. And if they liked me, I would be like, okay, I'd try to find one thing I liked about them and like see if it would work. And it was a horrible way to do it. Like it was just, that's a desperate energy.
Yeah.
It was never going to work like that. But that's how I worked for a long time.
Yeah, I relate to that completely. That was my daughter's father. It's essentially like, well, he likes me, so I guess we'll date.
Yeah.
I didn't even like him.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
So really low self-worth, really low self-esteem. Certainly not inviting in the partner that was the right person for me.
Yeah, which is so interesting because anyone who sees you and sees your life, and I have to highlight this because I think there's other people out there who feel like that. It's like, okay, well, how could there be anything going wrong in your life? You even when you didn't feel like you looked perfect, you look great and you had a good job and, you know, you have this really amazing daughter. Like things look like it's going right, but it doesn't matter if inside that's not your truth, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, there's so much to that. And yeah, so I'm just really excited for you. And so what else has been possible now that you have this partnership and you have this support and you're at a point where, you know, I mean, you love each other, right?
Yeah.
And that's clear. You've said that to each other. And so how is your life like different.
It's just completely, I mean, I've said this to him recently. I was so independent. It is so wonderful. I was so independent and almost masculine. I think you remember that, like very masculine. And because I felt like I had to be, like it was all up to me. I was taking care of myself. There was nobody left to take care of me anymore. Both of my parents had died. I had a challenging relationship with my brother. I didn't have anybody that I was dating. I kind of isolated myself a little bit, just going through this hard time. And I became so strong and so independent and somewhat masculine. And being with him allows me to take a more feminine role, to play, like there's this ease and grace and like just loving being in partnership, like giving up that independence. I don't want it anymore. I mean, not to say that I'm not independent and can't take care of myself, but it is so refreshing to be in a partnership where I don't have to be that way. And I love having somebody to support me and help me and truly be a partner for me and do things for me and me for him too. It's very mutual. It's a huge shift for me to be able to give up that, like I have to do it myself, and you know, that strong, stubborn kind of, you know, masculine woman, like screw it. Like I have this awesome guy and I just feel I kind of like the aspects of our relationship that allow me to be more feminine and him to be more masculine, and vice versa too. It's very balanced.
Oh, I love it. So will you share a couple things that you like doing for each other? Like, what are those things he does for you that you love?
It's so, like, one of the things that I totally love is that we'll have like a little conversation about something, like things that I need, and he just does it. He's so like in tune and he follows through. So like, I think, do I need to remind him that he was going to bring this? It's like, no, I don't need to remind him because he's got it, like, and then some. So I absolutely love cooking for him. And he also loves cooking for me. I love making meals for him. It's one of my very favorite things to do. And I love that he, what's another good example? Like he kind of does, like, so this is kind of funny. So I live in this caretaker apartment, and one of my main responsibilities is to heat the main house using this pellet stove. And there's definitely mechanical aspects of it. And so the homeowner was here recently to kind of go through it and to teach it to me. And Bruce was willing to like go and sit with the homeowner and learn everything he needs to learn, because he's a more mechanical guy, and like kind of assume the role of like, when I run into something that I don't understand, he totally knows how to do it. So he sat there with him, and it was kind of funny because he kept him for like over an hour going through things with him. And he did it like so willingly, with like it was like no problem. He just,
I love it.
and happily did that. And like, we take the trash out, which where I live is a big deal because it's like this huge long driveway. And like, we like take this little, it's a little like, it's called a Kubota, but it's this little like vehicle, and you load the trash out of the vehicle and you drive it down the driveway. Well, I'm fully capable of doing it, but like every time it's trash day, he loads it up for me and we drive down together to take the trash out. It's just, it's awesome. And like, we're very, he's just like, I don't know. There's so many things. Like, it's such a balanced partnership. Like, life is just easier because he helps me so much. Like, he gets my bike ready for bike rides. He's super thoughtful. He helped plan my dad's 81-mile memorial ride, mapped it out perfectly. He's just always teaching me things and opening up my mind to new things. And he's open to he loves the Kundalini yoga, and he does my meditation with me. I decided on the fall equinox to do 1,000-day meditation, and he does it with me. Every morning that we're together, he does it with me, and he likes doing it, which is like literally, it's like a dream come true. I mean,
yes.
I was just hoping that somebody would be open to the yoga and not like making fun of it.
Yeah.
You know, and he's very open. He's like, we're opening each other to different things, and he's very inclusive with me. He includes me in things. He invites me to his choir rehearsals, and he just loves having me around, and we love being together. You know, it's very,
love it.
Very awesome.
It's so sweet. It's so cute, and you guys look so cute together, and you look so like vibrant and healthy together. And you know, you just nailed it when you said life is easier, because that is truly what it's about. I think so many women have experienced so many of the wrong relationships where they've actually, life is harder because either they're hiding their shit, like they're not able to totally be themselves, or they're not trusting, or, you know, it's just not supportive. And therefore it becomes just another layer of chaos in someone's life. And it's draining.
Yeah.
When you have that person, I mean, I remember feeling like that with Larry. It's just like, wow, you know, now we get to kind of share things, and being able to have that person who like likes the stuff that you like, and being able to learn from another person, and like that mind-opening experience, and feeling beautiful all the time, like no matter what. Like even when I have my like major bedhead, because I have like wiry hair, so it's like this in the morning, and he's like, oh, fine, you know, like I love the feeling of really not being able to do anything wrong and always be adored, and you are totally adored by him, and you adore him back. So awesome. So do you guys have any really exciting plans since the holidays are coming up? That, I mean, this will be your first time doing the holiday season together.
Yeah, and I mean, I haven't really been doing the holidays these last few years, and it's the first year I'm really looking forward to the holidays. You know, in these past years, I've kind of done my own thing and found my own way, and it's been fine. But this year for Thanksgiving, we're going to go to North Carolina, where he's from, to celebrate Thanksgiving. So I'm really excited for that trip. We're going to spend about a week there. And then for Christmas and New Year's, just planning on being together and, you know, maybe creating some new traditions together. So he was considering going back to North Carolina for Christmas to be with his family. And, you know, I was able to pretty easily tell him that it was the first time that I was really looking forward to Christmas, and that I would love to spend it with him. And so he chose to delay the trip back home to after Christmas, after New Year's, so that we could be together. And so just planning on spending some good quality time together, and I'm sure we'll do lots of fun things. And then trips, like going to the beach, we've got a long list of stuff that we look forward to doing together, and it'll include a lot of traveling, and so much to look forward to. But I also just enjoy doing nothing at home. Like, yeah, it's great going to Target with him, you know, running errands, sitting around and doing nothing. I enjoy everything. So
good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, oops, there's feedback. I don't know. So I love all of that. I mean, it's so beautiful. So what about any last things that you think people should know?
You know, patience pays. It's one of my Yogi Tea little tea tabs. And, you know, I went through the program with you. It'll be 2 years in January that we started working together. It may have been December even, the December before that.
Yeah.
And he just came along like this last summer, and really in terms of like a romantic relationship, not until fall. So be patient.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like I knew I wasn't going to settle for less than what I wanted.
Mm-hmm.
And I waited patiently, and it's totally worth it. Wait for what you really want. Patience pays.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I think that's so good because, but the beauty of that is, because I mean, some people who are like feeling impatient right now, is that it doesn't feel like that when you're in your life and when you've healed those things and you're actually living and enjoying your life. Then, you know, yes, you're being patient, you're staying open, but you're enjoying your life. So, I mean, that's what I found too. And, you know, really, would you rather, you know, continue the cycle of dating the people who are wrong for you and waste years here and there and years and months and go through that cycle just to not be alone, or figure out how to love your life and then find the person?
absolutely. You said it perfectly.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for giving so much of your wisdom and your time. And I just know that so many people can be healed by this, because I think the most powerful thing is to hear it from someone who's experienced and succeeded. I mean, I can talk all day about it, and I know it from my own personal experience, but, you know, I believe the planet needs us to be in love right now. And the more of that that comes with ease and support like you're experiencing, it's just inspires other people. It's so huge.
Yeah, I agree.
Awesome. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. We will talk to you later. You're amazing.
You too. Thank you, Macy.
Bye.
All I want is just to be me, 'cause what I feel is free. And I don't always wanna watch what I'm eating, 'cause chocolate